think that's a good place for us to stop this first session. But I do want to see you again. So thanks for coming and meeting me today, Scott.
My name's Dustin. Scott's story isn't real.
So that was a little preview of the most recent episode of what we're calling Inside Story that myself and Scott Story, aka Dustin, came up with. And it's been a really fun concept to work on. Dustin approached me, had this idea. He knew that I'd be the person to go to for a project like this with my film background and everything, and the fact that he knew he wanted to use the psychologist as my roommate Shane. So we ended up using a multi-camera setup for this, just so that the flow and the rhythm could be pretty good and pretty similar to what would come out in the final cut as we were recording it. So I had my two cameras, my 60D, my 80D, both of them with 50 millimeter lenses on them. My 50 millimeter, my Plastic Fantastic, that one was the one that was shooting Shane, and I got to actually pull out my Nikon 50 millimeter, which is a manual focusing lens for the shot of Dustin. And unlike the Canon one, that one is metal and pretty rigid. But the look of that one particularly, I really enjoyed and always have. But because it's a manual focus, I don't get to use it as often. So how I ended up doing the editing for the multi-camera was actually pretty simple. So we go into Adobe Premiere, and right here, so what I did was, as you see, everything is labeled really well for once for me. So what you do is you take one, take two, right click, do a create multi-camera source sequence. We'll do episode 1, take 1, multi. And Adobe Premiere actually has gotten really good at actually finding your audio and syncing it together. So we'll let that process. And then you see that one comes up right here. We'll create a new sequence from this clip. And as you're looking at it, you're seeing, oh, wow, that's just a blank screen, Kyle. You're kind of an idiot. This button right here says toggle multi-camera view. And now I can do 1, 2, 1, 2. This will be the audio from camera 2, which I don't want right now, because that's actually the camera that was recording Shane, and that wasn't the camera that my good microphone was on. So I'll use the audio for the one that Dustin was recording with. And so we'd want it to start right there with him.
Just so I can actually sync them easier.
So I'd start it with camera 1, and then I can just simply switch, like Shane starts talking, so I'll switch to him. Dustin talks, switch back to him for the main monitor. And like that one, this was the first take, so I don't want to use that one because I don't want to use that pan. But I'll keep doing this one for our example. And then like that right there, you see I missed like where this starts. Shane actually starts talking right before. So I can hit N on the keyboard. And that will roll over and start when Shane is talking. And then I did a few other little things here and there with this, but a lot of those are sequences you'll see a little bit later, and I don't want to give too much away. I want everybody to go out and actually watch this. But one of the things I am really proud about is the end credits. So you can also see, so I decided to crop it really tight. So I ended up doing some color correction. I realized as we posted this, my monitor is not quite as calibrated as I wanted it to be. So if we go into color, I realize actually everything's a little too magenta. But I also didn't want it to look like a sickly green. And then up the contrast. You know, I almost made it a little too dark. So I think for the second episode, I'll up that a little bit, but still kind of kill down the highlights. And then here we had the end credits, which I did a fun little flickering effect. And that actually worked with, we used a song from Aesthetic Perfection for the actual cut. And so this ended up going right on the big downbeats at the very end is the boom, boom for Story Lives. And then how using that song, I didn't want to hold on just these titles for too long. So I figured it would be a cool idea to add some credits. So I started playing around with it, you know, starring Dustin Munson, starring Shane King. I took a little nod from Robert Rodriguez. He's credited in Sin City as Shot and Cut by Robert Rodriguez, which I always have loved that title. And so I figured it's like, okay, it's a little homage, but then playing with the surreal nature that we're looking for of these films, it's like, okay, I didn't want to just do Kyle Olsen. It's like, let's put Knocked Out Films on there. And then the great little cap at the end is just the created by Scott Story. Given the fact that the last line of this episode is, my name's Dustin, Scott Story's not real. And then ending it with created by Scott Story was a fun little tweak there. Thanks everybody for watching. If you want to check out the full episode, go over to Scott Story's YouTube channel. And in the meantime, make sure to like and subscribe here and follow me at Knocked Out Films. Thanks.